Sup? Dope. Right.
I'm a big sports fan. I often go to games, and last summer I was at a Major League Baseball game in the city near where I live. I went with my friend Sean, who is also a big fan, and our seats were on the first level, sort of down by the first baseline. They were really nice, and the stadium was pretty full with it being a nice summer night. I remember it was about the 7th inning when I checked my phone after I felt it vibrate in my pocket. It was an airdrop request from another iPhone. The name of the phone just said iPhone. I was curious of what it could be, and I chose to accept the airdrop. It was a photo, and the photo turned out to be me.
Oh my
The
god.
photo looked really zoomed in, and it looked like it had been taken from the upper deck near the third base line. I thought it was funny, and I showed it to Sean, who also got a laugh out of it.
That's not funny. That's creepy as shit, scary as shit, haul ass, cluck this game. Your safety is on the... What are you talking about? Oh my god.
We were wondering if someone who knew us was at the game and just joking around with us. I looked over to the upper deck area, but really couldn't see the people well with them being so far away. I went on Snapchat and looked at my snap maps, but nobody else that I knew was at the game. As the game went on, the next inning, I received another airdrop. This time, it was once again a photo of me zoomed in, but now there was a red X drawn over my face. I thought it was funny again, but also a little bit strange. The next inning, which was the 9th and the last inning of the game, I got another airdrop. It was a video of somebody zooming into me. This time, however, it appeared to be filmed from the same section that I was in and behind me, just about 20 feet or so. I looked around, but didn't see anything out of the ordinary. It could have been anyone, and with as many people at the game as there was no way of knowing. The game ended shortly after, and Sean and I walked through the dense crowd back to my car, which was in a nearby parking garage a few blocks away. When we got back to my car and got inside, I was starting up the engine when I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. I grabbed it and looked to see another airdrop. It was from the same person, and I accepted it to see that now there appeared to be a note entry. The entry had my name with my address and then had in all caps, "I will get you." I knew that to send an airdrop, you had to be close by to the iPhone, and Sean and I looked all around the parking garage. Now this was really creepy. We didn't see anybody, but all of a sudden, we saw a car that was parked sort of behind us start to drive away, and the tires screeched as it did. It was a black car with tinted windows, and I didn't recognize it. After it sped away, Sean and I sat in the car for several minutes talking about who it could be that kept airdropping us. We really didn't know of anybody who would pull a prank like that. I didn't end up telling anybody else about it. Luckily for me though, nothing else happened, but I still want to know who that was taking those pictures of me.
The world may never know. You got a lot of creeps out there.
This happened many years ago when I was in high school. At the time, my younger brother was about 14 years old and played in a soccer league. One night, he was playing at a park less than 10 minutes from where we lived, and I went with my parents to watch his game. They had a small bleachers set up, and some other parents brought their own chairs to sit on and watch the game. I went to most of my brother's games because my parents did, and I enjoyed it for the most part, but at times, it would get a little bit boring for me. On this night, it was nice out and the sun was setting. I was sort of bored with the game and got up to walk around. I went around to the other side of the field, which had some trees and a really thick woods nearby. There was an open area around the corner from the woods, and I went there and was just sort of walking around. I was kind of just wandering around the park and was going to head back to watch the rest of the game in a couple of minutes, but I then heard a noise coming from seemingly the middle of the woods.
Oh my god.
I stopped and looked to see what it could be, assuming it was some kind of animal. It seemed way too dense of woods to really see in there. Plus the sun had just set and it was getting pretty dark out. I kept looking in the woods and then started to walk back, and that's when I saw it. It was a guy about 20 feet into the woods, sort of ducking behind a tree. It was not what I was expecting, and my heart started to race when I saw him. I couldn't tell if he saw me looking at him or not, but I decided to just head back to the game now. I was walking back and made it about 20 feet when suddenly I felt somebody grab me by the shoulder and yank me backwards.
Coffee.
The next
Get
thing I
off
knew,
me!
I was facing the woods and could see someone grabbing my head and covering my eyes. I struggled and tugged away as fast as I could. I was able to break free just from my first sudden movement, and then ran all the way back to the soccer field, which wasn't very far at all. When I got back to my parents, I was out of breath and told them what was going on. My dad decided to walk to the woods and look around, but he returned several minutes later and said that he didn't see or hear anybody, and the guy was probably long gone. This was a very scary experience for me, and not something I expected at all. That area had always been known as very safe, but ever since then, I tried to stay away from it.
Jesus. I mean, it's the woods. Like, come on now.
This story takes place about 5 years ago. At the time, I was a senior in high school. It was the spring semester, and it had finally gotten warm outside after the winter. I played basketball in high school, but our season was over by now. One of my favorite things to do was just hang out by the basketball hoop and practice. I would spend hours at a time by myself just playing basketball. The place I would usually practice at was the basketball courts they had at a park near my school. I lived really close to school and could walk there, so I'd often stop at this park on my way home and just hang out there until I felt like leaving. Usually, there wasn't any people there at all, and I would have the whole place to myself. One day after school, I stopped at the basketball courts with my basketball.
You see, but the thing about that is that makes you more of a target. So I'm pretty sure somebody or something is watching you. But you probably didn't think about that.
And started shooting around. I was there for maybe 20 minutes and by myself the whole time when I saw a car pulling up.
See?
I didn't think anything of it at all, but the car pulled up right to the closest parking space next to the basketball courts, which was only a few feet away from the three-point line at the court that I was at. I did find this strange, because the entire small parking lot was empty, and it annoyed me that they parked there. I kept playing and ignored them. I couldn't see the driver because of the angle. I would only be able to see if I had walked to the very end of the court and looked, which would have been obvious. I was wondering who it was, or if they would get out, but they remained in the car for a good 10 minutes or so. Then I saw another car pulling into the parking lot, and this car parked next to the other one. But the way it parked was on the side of the car that was actually on the basketball court, which wasn't even a real parking space. Now this really annoyed me, and I went to the other end of the basketball court to shoot at the other hoop. I was over there for maybe a minute or two, when I heard doors to the cars open and shut. I didn't stop to look until I heard footsteps, and they seemed to be getting closer to me.
Yep. See, now, if I was you in that situation, and I would have heard doors open and shut, I would have grabbed the basketball and I would have just started walking, not home, but like just walking away from the court, not turning. Or like not, I would say like not turning my head, but like just like turning my head like at least where I can see them out of my peripherals, not doing this shit. But yeah, I would have just stopped and I would have just started walking somewhere else.
Now I turned around and looked. I saw that there were two guys standing about 10 feet away from me. They both had longer hair and sunglasses on. As soon as I was facing them, they said to me that I needed to come with them.
What?
I asked them why, and then asked them who they were. One of the men replied by saying they did not want to have to hurt me.
What?
I knew then that I was in trouble. I knew they weren't police or anything like that, and I had no idea what they wanted from me. I had my basketball in my hand, and I threw it directly in the middle of the two guys as hard as I could. As I had released the ball, I immediately turned and began sprinting away from the men. My basketball missed them overall and sort of grazed one of the guy's arms.
What?
What it really did was give me just a moment to get a head start on running. They took off running after me, and I could tell they were not far behind. They seemed like pretty fast guys. However, being the athlete that I was able to quickly pull ahead a little bit and outrun the men. I made it to the end of the park and then to a residential street. From there, I turned to another block and then kept running. Soon, I had completely lost them. I was able to run for a long time without being tired and kept going even after I had lost the men. Then I stopped and I walked home after that, but was very careful to check all of my surroundings. After that, I never went back to that park again, and I also never saw those men again.
You see, but that I told you that was just gonna make you more of a target. Being out in that open area just by yourself, Jesus. This shit was not funny at all, At the game, somebody taking a picture of you. Pictures. Jesus. And my guy, it's the woods. It's the woods. It's the woods. Keep cool, keep classy, and I love you. Stay happy, my family.